everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to the morning show here on Stock Market TV. Spencer, Steve, JC, Alfonso with you this morning. A lot going on. The dock is full today, and we are excited. We got a lot. Let's see. What are we talking about? We got elections, so many elections and market reactions. Last week, we talked about Mexico and India. We'll probably talk about France a little bit today. Some stuff happening over the weekend in Europe on the election front. We have a familiar name in the hot corner. He's back. Warren Buffett back buying more Oxy. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about Apple today. Their worldwide developer conference, maybe with some AI announcements coming today. We'll find out. We'll talk about the S&P 500 rebalance or reconstitution that was announced on Friday. Maybe we'll talk GameStop if we feel like it. Not really sure. We'll have the All-Star Charts Chief Aussie Operator. That is his official title, Grant Hawkridge, on this show today at 9 o'clock. So that'll be fun. It's always fun to talk to Grant. So looking forward to that. So we got a lot going on. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Smash the like. Who's ready? I'm ready. Come on.
All right, we back. What's up, Mr. Strazza?
How we doing?
Still recovering from that 20-year college reunion is how I'm doing.
Was it?
How's the sea grape?
It was awesome. I'm the bad influence now, by the way, 20 years later. People were like, JC, we got to go to the campus, the dinner, dance. I was like, I don't understand why we don't just go straight to the bar. And why didn't we just do that from the beginning? And they're like, well, we're going to see people at the school. I'm like, well, if you're not going to the bar, I don't want to see you anyway. So, right? Like if you're going to be on campus the whole time, and you're not going to be at the local bar where everybody else is, then I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? But my friends, they were just too responsible. So I am now the bad influence.
So they have like a dinner and a dance before everybody can go hang out?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like a 2-day thing. It's like a whole thing. I'm like, why don't we just post up at the bar? And everybody's going. Everybody I want to see is going to be there. So
you spent your whole weekend in Fairfield?
What's that?
Spent your whole weekend in Fairfield? You're there?
No, man. You know how many kids I got? I can't do that.
You
no,
didn't
man.
Days. You just went for one night, right?
No, I took the train up from the city on Saturday morning, and I Ubered it from Fairfield Beach all the way back to Pennsylvania at 3 o'clock in the morning.
How much? $240?
$260. That's a pretty good guess. $260. Not bad.
I've taken some long Uber rides in my life.
I could tell. You spot on there. Spot on. I was at a party that got raided by the cops. And I was so happy when that police officer showed up. I was like, my man, I have not been at a party raided by the cops in 20 years. I couldn't be happier to see you. He was just cracking up.
Was it? He seems like I still got it, right? You're like, I still got it.
I was like, wow, we're at a party getting raided by the cops. This is fantastic.
Was it a beach house?
Yeah.
Reef Road? Where?
Right on Beach Road, like second hump. Wow. Yeah. Funny, right?
Yeah.
So he was just cracking up. He's like, really? You're happy to see me? I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving anyway. So,
Was it an Airbnb or one of the alums?
No, one of the it was one of the beach houses. I don't know. Bunch of the girls we went to school with got it, but it was actually pretty funny. Another note, so many people came up to me because Fairfield's got a good accounting program. So there's a lot of people that, see all the books and stuff like that. I can't believe how many people came up to me or like, JC, I see all-star charts like on our books. Right? Like these are like, hedge funds and, different brokers and stuff like that. They're like, I see it every month and I think of you, JC. I was like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Approving the wires. Like, what the hell is All-Star Charts?
That's right.
What are we paying?
That's right. I thought that was kind of funny. Like a number of people. I thought that was hilarious. Didn't see that one coming. All right. So that was my weekend.
Sounds lovely.
You guys good?
Yeah.
Great. I had a great weekend. Yeah. Productive. Excellent.
You went to the Diners game?
I went to the Jersey Diners game. Awesome. It was great. They had like a cheer prompt over the loudspeaker, and it was like, Let's Go Diner is followed by like a bell ring, like from a diner. Like,
Oh, that's pretty funny.
great.
Where was it? Where was this?
Somerset Patriots, 5 minutes from my house. Double A team for the Yankees. Yeah. All the concession workers had diner hats on. It was great. Wonderful. Mwah.
Spencer loves diners, dude. This guy loves diners.
I'll talk more about it later, but let's go stand in the markets.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Nvidia's down 90.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have absolutely nothing happening this morning in the stock market. Dow futures are exactly flat. S&P futures exactly flat, and Nasdaq futures exactly flat. So absolutely nothing in the equities market, which is perfectly fine, right? Bond futures, on the other hand, getting hit again. 30-year futures down 0.5%. 10-year futures down again. Crude oil, which I want to talk about now in a minute, up 1% on the day, 76.5. Copper up 1.5%. Hanging out above 4.5. Gold flat on the day, still above 2,300. Here it is, 23.25. Silver up 1.5%, just under $30. Volatility index back above 13. As yields slightly higher here. We definitely have got some action in the Forex markets. I know Spencer, I love how Spencer starts talking about like European elections. Like, did it?
I mean, you gotta, right?
I guess. Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, euro getting smacked, dollar up this morning again. So interesting action there. And then over in the old funny money, Bitcoin still below 70,000, 69,380, flat on the day. Ethereum Ethereum about down 1%. Just under 3,700. Solana, just under 160, down 2% on the day. Binance, Strazza, 640, down 5% today, not breaking out. Total crypto market cap, 2.46 trillion. Spencer Israel, by the way, Bitcoin dominance been really moving higher, back above 55% in Bitcoin dominance. So in other words, the market capitalization of Bitcoin still representing over half of the total market cap of all of the cryptos in the world. So that's what I got going on. What stands out from the futures this morning?
That's BTCD, right, JC?
BTC.D. I guess it depends on where you're looking, but yeah. So what stands out from the futures? Anything?
Nothing at all.
Nothing from the stock market. Bonds down again. Commodities up. Dollar up. Interesting. Would you agree? This move in the dollar higher with rates higher and commodities higher. Something to monitor, right?
I see a lot of nothing this morning outside of, I guess, I'll be monitoring the intermarkets. So dollar and rates coming off some weakness from the last week and a half, trying to make a save here, particularly the 10-year, right? Does the 10-year roll over and make this like a valid trend line break?
Does the 10-year yield roll over?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's looks like they're squeezing them.
Right, because we hit fresh multi-month lowest level since really early April, late March.
Right. 2-month highs for TLT last week, and now they're knocking them down.
So do they reverse it, or do we see downside follow through in rates? That's kind of where my head is at for this week.
Downside follow through in rates. Looks like we're getting upside follow through in rates. What do you mean?
Right. So that's what I'm saying, JC. Right. So if you look at last week, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight down days, right?
Yep.
Where the 10-year fell from 4.6 to 4.3.
Yep.
Are they going to undo that damage here this week? And are we pinging right back to 4.5, 4.6? Or does these last two candles, a little bit of strength in rates, does this roll over here?
Yeah, and I was going to say revert to the trend, right? Get back to what the underlying trend is. And I was going to say that rates, the trend has been higher. And then I have like you in my head being like, well, it's kind of a sideways mess. And you're right. And I agree with that. So see how like my head, you're already like in my head, Strazza, because I could already see you pushing back. Be like, well, it's not really enough trend.
Good.
Since late December, rates have been higher. But Strazza's right. Pretty kind of sideways. And the stock market overall likes that.
We do have some logical levels within this range, and I think 4.3 is one of them, right? I think 4.3 is the biggest peak. This is the October 2022 peak in interest rates, and that's kind of what we shot down to last week before bouncing higher. So rates below 4.3, that's something. I think then we're on our way to the lower bounds of the range, and we got to see what happens there.
All right, I got something. Throw up slide 2, Spencer. This one comes from our friend who's anonymous on Twitter, but Strazza and I are friendly with him. We actually haven't spoken to him in a while. We should probably catch up, but
I know who you're talking
Strazza
about.
and I over the years have spoken to him quite a bit. Really smart guy, very well connected, well informed gentleman. This is at Macro Charts. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should.
Yeah.
He's at Macro Charts. He doesn't tweet as much as he has in the past. Like he goes ups and downs, but really, really smart dude. Like seriously though.
Listen, the man has great data. Some of the best data. Some of the best data. So.
Data.
Yeah.
He's been collecting like awesome data for a long, long time. So this guy, you think we have good data? We do have good data, but he has really good additional data that we don't have actually. But he's cool sending it over when we ask for it, when we ask nicely, right, Strazza?
The cigar box move. Dun-dun-dun. What is he doing with that cigar box? That's great.
Nope, it didn't move. No, it didn't.
We're good. We're good.
Of the cigar box.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back in the saddle because I got to do some. We'll get into it.
Why aren't you at the beach, my friend? What's going on?
Because I have to go to the stupid country club thing so that you could play golf at a bougie course. I do this for you.
Listen, that's a great answer. It's a good answer. It's a good answer.
I
wasn't going to accept many answers. That's one.
My wife's like, "Oh, why don't we just go to next month?" And then I was like, "Well, because then half the summer's gone and Strazza's not going to be able to play golf." I didn't say that because she would have said, "Fuck Strazza. I don't care about Strazza."
People are excited. No, she loves me.
People are excited.
Pearls is excited. People are excited. Don't let us down.
I told her, I was like, we already have plans. She's like, what do you mean we already have plans? I was like, don't worry about it. All right. So this one comes from Macro Charts. And we're talking about the percentage of open interest. So record low exposure, worse than at the COVID lows, which is wild, right? Like that's an interesting stat. Like less exposure by hedge funds than when crude oil was trading below zero. Damn, that's kind of wild. Didn't see that one coming. Right?
Yeah. So this is the large speculators?
These are hedge funds specifically. So he quantifies that a little bit differently. It's probably not that far off from large speculators. Like we could check with Ian. I don't think it's exactly like that. I think it's a little bit different.
It shouldn't vary too much from the COT, but he's doing some things, manipulating this data and cleaning it up a little bit as he sees fit. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, look, so typically you fade this red line. It worked really well last time we were down here at the pandemic lows. I don't know if anything will ever work that well again. I don't know if you can come from below zero to 100 this quickly. I don't know if we'll ever see that again, but we're in range, right? This would be a bullish data point, not a bearish one.
This would be a bullish data point because, like we talk about all the time, stocks and asset classes, they don't move based on fundamentals, right? Like I know people lie to you and tell you that that's why they move, but it's definitely not why. Asset prices move based on positioning or a lack thereof, right? A mispositioning to be more accurate, particularly from extremes. So, while hedge fund positioning and even any commitment of traders positioning report or sentiment at all, it really is only important to us at extremes, and usually by definition, they are not at extremes. So what stands out here is just how extreme of a lack of positioning this is. Caught me a little bit off guard. I didn't quite realize it was this much. You?
No, I had no idea. I want to talk about Apple, Spencer.
Yep.
Do we do this now or later?
We can do now. Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody what's happening? Why are we going to hear so much about Apple in the news this week?
Yeah,
it's a bull market, Strazza.
So the WWDC, right? The Worldwide Developer Conference, which actually normally is really only important if you're like a tech nerd / developer, like if you're really into this stuff, but it's not usually a mover. Usually it's not a mover for the stock. This year might be different, only because of the AI implications and the whispers around that. So what are they going to say about their partnership with OpenAI? or the new, AI capabilities of the new iPhone cycle or anything like that. They're probably going to talk about AI. That's the implication, and or the rumor mill, I should say. And so the event starts today, and there's going to be headlines that will probably matter to the market.
Now, what's gone on here with Apple over the trailing 12 months? This company has purposely avoided the AI conversation. They've purposely avoided that word. It's been a strategy. This is kind of what they do. They like to move in a different direction, or at least juke out their competition in a way. So they're being very quiet about whatever they're working on. They're keeping it really close, and everybody's really waiting for it. Now, what could happen in this event is just look at what the stock price has done. Sorry, this chart has a little bit, it's got an error on it, but it's only a day stale. Look at what Apple's done just over the past few weeks, JC. This is while tech has been under pressure, right? So I would say good news from this WWDC is baked into the cake here for Apple. Now, if they don't come out, Apple up, let's call it a cool 20% off of the April lows. All right, everybody was worried going to earnings, remember? So I think over the past few weeks, the market is baking in some good news here. If they show up and don't deliver some sort of AI news, this thing probably gets sold a bit. This is probably a sell the news event. We'll see. Chart looks fantastic. Chart looks so good.
Yeah.
I love the relative strength. They go to Apple when the rest of the space isn't working. It's just amazing how it works. I love this dynamic where Apple becomes like a safe haven among its growth peers, right? Software's getting hit. Look at Apple. It's absolutely ripping.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
It's how
I don't know about that safety. I don't know. Maybe, but I think it's bigger than that. I think it's bigger than that. One of the things that I, in particular, was pounding the table on was Apple's underperformance. Making new 52-week lows on a relative basis. Like that was bad, right? Great short, made a lot of money on that trade. Fantastic. This is a great example of what happened last quarter and what's happening now. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what we did a few months ago. It doesn't matter what was happening a few months ago. In fact, Strazza, while, as bearish as I was Apple and as well as that trade worked out, Strazza's like, I just don't see Apple completing a massive top in the middle of a bull market, right? And like that point is so true. And by the way, I'm totally with you. And I was with you then. I was like, but if it breaks, it didn't break. Right? Never actually really completed that top. Great sell-off, great short, all that is great, but never really completed a massive top, and they squeezed them higher. And the relative strength that we've seen over the last 3 months, right? Is that about right? Last 3 months, last 2 months. Yeah, that sounds more accurate. Over the last couple of months, you've seen that relative strength out of Apple. And whether it's because of what Strazza's describing or not, I feel like doesn't even matter. It's been really impressive in the face of, not so great performance from some of these areas, right?
Yeah, I mean, so this is, if you want to just go back to the chart, this is after your short had already worked. We're looking at this, I guess it would have been about a 12-month top in Apple. Some people would call it a double top, and it was right there. It was just right on the brink of breaking down, registering that breakdown or that top, and they dug in. I don't know if you have that chart. I just dropped it in the chat. But the bet we were making is that Apple was not going to break down from bearish chart pattern in the middle of the bull market. And I think that's something you could apply to other stocks too, especially these blue chips, whether it's Nike or Pfizer or 3M or Disney. These tops come in all different shapes and sizes. But I think to make the bet that bearish patterns will fail in bull markets is it's standard operating. It's how we should be acting. Not going to throw up the chart. That's cool.
1 o'clock Eastern time today for this stream. So
1 o'clock Eastern time for what stream?
Apple.
Oh,
if you care.
I'm not watching that shit. What are you gonna?
I'm just telling the people.
Oh,
people will be watching. It'll be a thing. There'll be breaking news on my wire during this WWDC event. You get some movement from this event every year. whether it's Apple or somebody else, right, Spencer? Tech companies tend to.
That's true. I mean, look, it's not typically as big of a mover as it is for like their product launches in September, right? Like for the hardware. But today's all about software, and so there will be headlines.
News
Do you
gets
think?
broken.
Do you think these folks over at Apple are going to get as large an audience as a one roaring kitty?
JC, I was about to say that.
I think we should
I'll
stop.
take the under. I don't think they're going to be able to get as many as the kitty.
No, they won't.
I think we should zig while the rest of the media landscape is zagging and everybody's obsessing over this nonsense. I think we should completely ignore it. I think it's noise. I think it's crap too. I think it's a shame because what he did 4 years ago was really cool, and this is really different.
I guess. I'm sure he's really concerned with what you think.
Dawson in the chat. That's right. I thought maybe my poll on Friday, the over/under was a little bit too high.
Wow,
No, the over
Spencer got that.
The over took it. The over took it.
Damn. That
17 trading halts.
That would have paid.
I thought that Spencer was being irresponsible, setting the line so high. It shows you how much I know. I know nothing. You see? I know
The
nothing.
overtook
Good for
it.
you, Spencer. Good for you.
That's right.
That had to be like plus 300.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice call, Spencer.
Yeah.
All I'll say about it is
You could have a future
watched-
in Vegas.
Yeah.
You have a future in New Jersey as a bookmaker.
no, I
I
don't.
got those there.
No. All I'll say is I watched the stream mostly because I was not convinced he was going to talk about GameStop. I thought maybe it'd be a different stock. And B, I want to hear what he said about it. He said literally nothing new the entire time. And I think the market reaction speaks to that. So he had me on Friday. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm with
So
you,
he's
Steve.
holding. Like, what was the takeaway? What was said? He's planning to hodl GameStop.
His thesis literally hasn't changed. He is simultaneously a long-term believer in GameStop, and I guess his equity position, his common stock position would indicate that. But he also has those super short-dated calls, right? So, like, you're a long-term believer, and you're expressing that with calls that expire in like a week. So I don't know.
So listen, we know we all know
You can
this,
exercise them, Spencer.
Yeah,
but this is right because it's been 4 years. This is a fundamental thesis to say it hasn't changed in 4 years. The company has dramatically changed. In fact, I would argue so much that the leaders of this company don't believe in it long term. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trading their treasury cash trying to make money on meme stocks.
Yeah.
They'd be investing in the future, some sort of growth opportunities, but they don't have any. So they're just trading their petty cash on Chewy stock and AMC stock. It's really embarrassing. It's hard for anybody to honestly say they're bullish this company long term. So I don't know. Roaring Kitty, really cool 4 years ago. Now I think he's making an absolute joke of himself.
Yeah. I mean, like he himself
by
said, it's the
design,
same
I'm pretty
thesis.
sure he's making a joke. Like, I think pretty sure the way his getup was and the whole thing was for laughs.
Here's what I'll
I
tell
don't
you.
have a problem with that.
This is not okay. There are not currently laws written by regulators that he's violating.
So then, by definition, it is okay.
He will no, because no, because they could change the laws. They could find out things are not okay without knowing beforehand, right? And they'll put the policy in place.
I think this gets back to what we were talking about before with some of these crypto banks. Like, technically, they weren't doing anything wrong, but because they were pissing these people off, they shut them down anyway. Remember, we have guys that were inside that have given us some information. There's no reason for them to get shut down. They shut them down anyway.
Listen, so regulators can get picky, right? It's there's stuff in the news every day that, if you think about it, if you go after somebody and you look hard enough, you could find something that they did wrong. They'll find something that he did wrong and they'll nail him on whatever. But because this
You're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong.
The one funny part, the part that I laughed at was the rumor that E-Trade is thinking about kicking him off the platform.
I would.
He was like, I saw that, and then he went to he put up his page, his account, and he removed the E-Trade logo from the page.
Yeah, see, the game he's playing, go for it. But to do this with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, this guy's a maniac. And I'll bet you the majority of it's not his money. So that maybe he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I know. Look, he said it was, Steve. He said it was.
Not his money.
Know.
I don't know what to tell you. Ask anybody who's paying attention. Just do a little bit of math. It's not his money. His original investment in GameStop was like $40,000, $30,000, maybe $50,000.
Yeah, and he made a shit ton of money off it. So,
do the math. What do you make? 10 million, 20 million? Not 100.
no, more than that. No, I
Just a
didn't
friendly
think it was as high
reminder.
either.
This is-
I
this
didn't
is
think it was that high either.
Pay attention.
Hold on. Just a friendly reminder to everybody listening at home. This is less than a $10 billion company. It can go to zero tomorrow, and it won't matter at all. It's a rounding error, and that's putting it nicely. It doesn't matter at all to anything, and nobody is affected by this. It literally doesn't matter. It's a sideshow. It's a circus.
Not
It's
as money.
funny.
Sorry.
It's funny. It's educational. I think a lot of people are learning about certain dynamics of the marketplace that perhaps they were not aware of when it comes to the options market, when it comes to short selling. Like, I think there's an educational component to this where a lot of investors that are not familiar with some of the things that we take for granted because we've been doing this for so long. So, there's a service and being added, to the community. I don't think it's a net negative. I would argue it's a net positive for those of us who don't have the regulatory risk that he is taking upon himself. And, that's on him. That's, but it doesn't matter. I think it's educational. I think it's funny. I think it's a net positive for Earth.
I think we should stop talking about it.
All right. Well, we do have Grant Hawkridge, who we've been working together for half a decade now, and we had never met ever. And we met him in California, and he is a large man. He's a big dude. Like, if we got into any trouble at all, we got Grant on our side.
What trouble are we going to get to?
We have a lot of tall guys.
We have a lot of tall guys.
Yeah, Alfonso's tall. Louis tall.
Yeah, Alfonso's tall. But I wouldn't say, like, if we got in a fight in California, not that we would have, but hypothetically, if we got into any problem, I wouldn't send like Giancarlo in there.
The shortest one.
All right, I send Grant or something.
All right.
I get it. Yeah,
Grant's here. Should we bring him on?
Get him on here.
Please bring him on.
All right.
Bring him on the show. Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Hey, speak of the devil, Mr. Grant Hawkridge. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well. I miss you guys.
I was going to say, you miss us already?
I miss you. I want to get back there.
I bet you do.
America was everything's bigger and better over there.
Yeah, we eat a lot.
And everything costs a lot of money. Was what I found.
Yeah, we're in the Bay Area. What the hell you want? You're staying in Sausalito. It doesn't get more expensive than that. Are you kidding me?
I know. It was like I think I paid it was like $70 for smashed avocado and a coffee. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? And then they want a tip on top. And I was like, what's going on?
That's right. The millennials are driving prices of avocado toast these days. That sushi Ron wasn't cheap, I bet, right?
Ooh, no, that wasn't cheap, but that's worth it. That was
That's
a good
worth it.
recommendation.
I agree.
Very
Sushi
good
Ron in
recommendation.
Sausalito. Shout out. Great spot.
Mm.
Grant, you gave a nice presentation, I thought, really focusing on, the environment. And I think that it gets understated. I see it on Twitter all the time, not so much feedback from like our community, but more like the public outsider community. We throw out, sort of breath measures, and we're looking at countries around the world. And it's like, JC, why does it matter? Just trade what's in front of you, right? Like, I get that sometimes, right? And I see the back and forth. And it's like, because the first thing that we want to do is identify what type of market environment are we in, and then choose which tools and strategies are best for that type of market environment, rather than just like forcing like some algorithm that I built in my mommy's basement into the market, no matter what the circumstances or conditions are. Like, that seems idiotic. So again, it's about identifying the environment first. If we're in a high volatility environment, then why the hell would we incorporate strategies that are good for low volatility environments, right? Like, if we want to hang a picture on the wall, we're not going to use a toothbrush. We're going to get a hammer and a nail or something, right?
Yeah.
We're going to brush our teeth.
Totally
the hammer
agree.
and the nail. We have different tools and strategies depending on what our goals and objectives are. And the market is the same thing. And I thought you did an excellent job in Sonoma of describing that. You want to give the elevator pitch to the folks about what we discussed in Sonoma, what your presentation was about, and then we'll
Look,
get into the
I mean,
market.
you hit the nail on the head there. It was all about what's the environment? Are we allocating capital or are we taking capital off the table? And as simple as that. I mean, that's the elevator pitch. What's the environment? And
So
right now,
what is the environment? We got more countries around the world making new 52-week highs than we've seen in years.
well, that's faded a little bit as well. And that's when I was going through my charts. Well, actually, I was at the beach this weekend. We've got a long weekend in Australia. We're celebrating the King's birthday. So I was with the family for a little bit down at St. Leonard's, the Bellarine Peninsula. Shout out to Scotchman's Hill. You had a bit of a taste of that.
Nice.
And I got back and I was like, I got to get through these charts. I got to start looking. I got to, figure out what's going on. And it was a bit of a shorter condensed chart scan that I was doing, and I'm sort of intrigued about this environment that we're in at the moment. If you throw up slide 9, this is one of the indicators that I use, which is essentially it's just 20 risk on, risk off key ratios that we look at, and there's a bit of math behind it that gives us this risk on, risk off. But it's starting to it's fading. It's fading.
But it's been doing that all year. You're seeing it in the new highs list. You're seeing it in high beta. Like you're seeing it in a lot of stuff, right? So this isn't a surprise.
Yeah, and but we're making all-time highs. This is what's got me thinking. Like new lows are there, and if you go to slide 10, you can see the new lows. They're starting to pop up now. But if you go to the next slide, number 11, they're not really expanding. You're not getting that sort of thrust of new lows.
Yeah, because
hold on. The bears are hanging around. The bulls are sort of, I don't know. I feel like they're going and play golf at the moment. And that's the sort of the new lows are there. So I'm thinking, okay, am I going to start allocating capital or am I not going to allocate capital? And at this time, there's a lot of data that we're looking at. And it goes back to what we've spoken about a couple months ago. It's a bit of a messy market. It's a messy market out there. But on the this is where it gets down to like what's your time frame and what you use and like if you're short term 1 week or 52 weeks. I'm a bit longer term. So I like to use 52 weeks. New highs, new lows. And if you go to the next chart, slide 12, I'm not getting that warning signal yet.
Yeah.
In the shorter term, there's new lows, but I'm not getting that that warning signal to go, hey, I want to pull capital off the table right now.
Grant, throw back the table quick, because this is weekly net new highs in the chart shown in blue, right? So that's just looking at each calendar week. Is that correct?
Yes, that's yeah.
So what's
the
period?
The table? That's day to day. So it's daily.
So this is as of Friday. Got it.
This is Friday's data. Yeah.
If this was weekly, would net new highs be negative?
Well, if you go to slide 12 and you can look at the net 52-week highs, the next slide there, slide 12, the blue column, that's still positive.
Yeah. Okay.
That's still positive. So that's what it's coming down to. Is it short term or long term? And that's the sort of the environment. Short term, it's messy. Long term, there's a lot of uptrends. There's it's a little bit healthier. So still, it's fading a little bit at the top end of it.
Yeah,
but not so much as it is at the short end.
So your data is often some of the hardest to weigh. Let me push back a little bit here and say, why do I care about any of this? I see a little green circle in the lower panel of this chart. That was late last year, I believe. We just thrusted. Why are you worrying me with any of this weakness? We spoke about this in Sonoma. We spoke about this in Sonoma, and I went through the data, and I'm not going to go through it on this, but like with those guys, we dug into the data, and I showed you the data that data is great. And this is where I'm getting a bit confused, conflated. Are we
what's the environment? And I'll get back to it's mixed because when you dig in the data, that thrust,
Yeah.
and that's been back tested by lots of guys on the street. The data's there to say for the next 12 months, we're in a bull market essentially.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get returns. That's what it's saying, the data. But
Right.
once again, the data's the data, and you can't, as we were just saying, what's the environment? Things change. I mean, inflation's up. So we haven't seen this sort of scenario for a while, since the 70s. So, and this is why I like breadth, because it gives you what's the market doing underneath the hood, gives you the strength, and that's the way I like to look at the market.
And I think breadth is extra important right now to help us determine kind of like where we want to be. For example, if I look at something like the IWM, Russell 2000s breaking like, fresh lows not seen since early May. Some of the other indexes, particularly the smaller ones or more equal weighted ones, don't look so great. But when you flip over to the large cap indexes, I mean, whether it's large cap tech, communications, healthcare, these things all look great.
Yeah, totally agree.
So
tech's just come out of nowhere. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we would say it was one of the worst performing sectors, but it's just shot back up there. Utilities has dropped right off.
Yeah.
Energy sort of dropped off again, but like tech's taken over the leadership. I mean, you look at a lot of the value growth. I mean, the value growth in large cap, it's saying you want to be in large cap growth.
Yep.
Huge
bounce back from some of these tech sectors.
Yeah.
FDN.
Well, I mean, be careful what you're looking at specifically. Some of these things that have high Apple weightings are being dragged lower and higher with that. So keep that in mind too.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. But that's why we look at it all. We look at it at an equal weight basis and a cap weight basis, essentially.
All right.
I think it goes back to just understanding what's inside of the things you're looking at.
So
exactly.
Flipping to slide 14 here. I want to get through these because I want to get to the election stuff. Slide 14. Everything's fine. No? How do you read this chart? And what's behind it?
Yeah, so this is our market bull behavior checklist. We've got 9 items in there that if they're all working, it should be there's the checklist, yeah. If they're all working, it's bull market behavior.
Yeah.
And now if you go back to the time series, which is slide 14, this is what I was just talking about before, that we're on the edge. We're on the edge here. It's still high, it's still in that bull market behavior, but that can turn and that can go lower. But it hasn't yet. That's the thing. So you got to give the weight of the Evans to the bulls right now.
Again, getting back to time horizon. I hate to keep harping on the exact same thing, but this isn't for a swing trade. This isn't for a day trade. This is a bigger picture environment and understanding that everything that's happening from day to day, week to week falls within the context of all of this, right?
And this is what I use for my trading, which is probably a lot longer time frame than you guys are trading, and like everyone else in the chat. Everyone has different time horizons, and that's why you need to get these tools and understand these tools and utilize these tools once you've understood them, if you can use them in your process at the end of the day. Because like this checklist might not be for you. You might be, flipping crypto on week-to-week basis. Like this is going to be no help to you. I mean, there probably is, because it's going to give you an environment, overall that it's in a bull market so that you can use a little bit of it, but you're not going to be able to use it all, essentially. So there's lots of tools, and you just got to pick those tools that fit your time horizon.
So Grant, are you buying the cryptos right now? The people want to know. That's what the people really want to know. My
sort of stance on crypto. I'm in it. I've taken the orange pill early days,
Nice.
but then I've sort of jumped off it and just gone, it comes back to what I sit back and go, okay, what type of trader am I? Can I take that volatility? Can I take that risk? And there's a lot of risk in crypto. You can get those big 30% swings.
Yeah.
And I'm at that age, I put it down to a sleep test. If I can't sleep at night, I'm overextended here. So I'm not,
Yep.
And when I'm investing in crypto, I find myself, because it's open 24/7, I'm always looking. I can't sleep. So I try and stray away from it a little bit, but I know I need to be
Yes.
involved in it at the same time.
I
I
like
need to have money
the sleep
invested into
test.
it.
Yeah, so you want some skin in the game, but not so much that you're thinking about it on the weekend. Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I've got my cold wallet and I've got a few dollars in there and it goes up and down. Do I check it that often? Not that often, no. I mean, you guys are always talking about it. And we talked to Louis about it.
Yeah, you can't ignore it at All-Star Charts.
Am I buying Pepe or whatever they're called? No. Am I just sticking to
Why
like
not?
the top 5 cryptos? Yeah, probably. That's
Well,
where I'm
why
at.
you like the relative strength? How have you skipped out on the Pepe? No?
Because it's Pepe. I mean,
As opposed to what?
I'm just not. I don't want that risk because I know that they can flip on a dime and I can lose, 30% of capital, and that comes back to maybe me being a financial planner back in the day, and you got to protect the capital, and with the chance of, I mean, I can still lose it, like with my Ethereum or Bitcoin, I can still, they can fall over and I can lose a lot, but at least I know that if those are going down, everyone's losing it, and everyone's probably losing a bit more. So, I mean, the bigger coins, the large caps.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm seeing from the cryptos is I'm seeing a lot of failed breakouts. You're seeing it in Binance. You saw the Floki failed breakout, like even in and those were the names showing relative strength. So when you're seeing the relative leaders failing to hold their breakouts, whether we're talking about tokens or software stocks or utilities, like it doesn't really matter. We're applying the exact same principles to cryptos that we would in TradFi. And you're seeing failed breakouts. I mean, Binance front and center. You want to talk about a leader? Binance made a new all-time high. A new all-time high, and they knocked it right back down. Floki made a new all-time high, knocked it right back down, right? The Brett's hanging in there okay, but
and that's information. Even even though that it's only $1 trillion, market cap across the board, it's still information. Like, things are falling over. So coming back to what I'm looking at, things are fading. So what are we doing moving forward? That's the question. What are we going to be doing? And that's why we like to know what the environment is. And we can lead on to sort of like the election year.
Yeah, let's do that.
Steve wants to jump onto.
Talk to me.
Which is slide 17. This is the best election year going back to 1950. It's number 1.
So how do we think about that? Do we think about, the two schools of thought, right? Again, that's not my opinion, just kind of playing devil's advocate, sharing what the folks are talking about on, the Twitterati and whatnot, is that the market is front running that election year strength, right? Which is why you got it early on. That's one of the arguments. Or you can argue that the market has been as strong as it's been, despite the fact that was the weaker part of the election year cycle. And we're going into the strongest part in the strongest trend for an election year ever. So which one is it? Is it front running the strength, or is it just relative strength in a time where you might not have expected that, right? How do you think about that?
Look, I mean, obviously I'm not in America. I'm not American. So take it as a grain of salt for coming from me, but you guys know what you're going to get at the moment. Both have been president for you guys. So is the election year data going to be a lot different? It might be this year because
Great
what
point.
you're going to get.
Yep.
Yeah, but what if the Democrats are like, this guy has zero chance? Which I think a lot of people are coming around to that. And there's a, and again, this is bipartisan. I'm just talking about markets here.
Yeah, this is
there's a debate. There's a debate in a couple of weeks that, I mean,
that might
I'm
be
not like a political genius or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure Biden's going to get abused in this thing.
And then there's a big decision to make, I think.
There's a big decision to make from the Democrats. And if the Democrats throw a curveball and do a little switcheroo, what does that do to markets, right? Because I think what Grant was saying is that you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get with the Trump, whether you like him or not, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Biden, whether you like him or not, you know what you're going to get. We've seen this before. And the market likes less uncertainty. So if there is an increase in uncertainty with an old switcheroo from the demis, then how does the market react to that? I can't imagine it would react favorably. How negatively would it be? I don't know, but doesn't strike me as a positive for the market. So I think that there's a risk out there in election land that could throw a curveball into the markets. No, you guys, how do you guys feel about that?
JC. No, I
agree.
absolutely agree. It's hard to model that out, right? Because I don't think that's ever happened before.
I was going to say, have they even had a switcheroo before? Like, I mean, I'm not that well versed in US politics, so.
Yeah, I'm not an expert either. I'm just, you know, I like to think about the risks that are out in the marketplace and, you know, the unknown unknowns and things like that. Like, those are the things that I think about. And, you know, Grant's spot on. You know what you're going to get with both candidates. Like, that I know for sure. But what if one of those candidates disappears because there's zero chance that he wins, right? What happens there?
Yeah. And there's probably a high probability that that happens. Like, from an outsider's, like, if they do go to a sort of a debate, and it's going to be an interesting debate from sitting on the outside here. It's going to be interesting to see what actually happens.
I don't think I can watch it. It's going to be so cringe. I don't think I can watch it.
Watching it's going to be wildly entertaining.
It's going to be bad, dude. It's going to be bad. I don't think I'm going to watch it.
Definitely watching. I think you find out then, though, because it's getting a little late.
P-Dubs in the chat. What up, Peter? How you doing, my man?
There we go. Peter, what's up?
By the way, speaking of which, my Puerto Rican roommate from freshman year showed up. He didn't even know we were having a reunion, and he saw us talking about it on the show, and he shows up with old pictures from freshman year.
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
Bad. Maybe we'll share a couple of those in recess. We'll see. All right, Grant. So, what do you think? Do you think that the market has front ran that strength? Or are you impressed with the relative strength that we've seen going in?
I think we might see some sideways action. If you go to like the slide 18 and you look at just seasonal.
Throw that in there.
Seasonally, it looks like it's just going to go sideways until summer's finished and you start hitting that November when everything's starting to heat up in the election period. So we've had like an absolute, you know, firecracker to start the year. It probably needs some time to, you know, consolidate, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a position. That's going sideways is a position. Putting capital off the table is a position. So my models right now weigh in favor of the bulls right now, but they're very on the borderline. So I'm going to be watching those models. I'm going to follow the data at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I don't care about your election. Like, that, whatever. I'm just going to follow the data. The data's going to lead me in the direction at the end of the day.
I know we didn't talk about talking about this chart, but I thought this was such a good chart, Grant. Hold on, I'm looking for it. The one with the here it is. This one. I thought this was so well done. Great job here. Throw up the new slide 2, Spencer. I thought this was such a good chart. I want you to walk through it. It took me a while to kind of figure out what the hell was going on here. And then once I did, I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, look.
Talk to the folks about what this is. This is great.
Yeah, so pretty much I've got 3 stocks, commodities, bonds, and then I've just put a 200-day average and what that slope's doing. So the colors show what's sloping upwards. So at the moment we've got stocks higher, but commodities and bonds lower. That's the gray, and that's been the environment that we've been in. Stocks have been higher, commodities and bonds have been, you know.
This is like the starburst chart.
I want to focus on that gray area there because
there's
notice how
gray starbursts.
What's that?
There are no gray starbursts.
There are no gray starbursts. That is a
Like
valid point.
blue,
but
maybe.
think about, go look to the left. How much gray are you seeing? You're not seeing much gray. So what that means to me, and by the way, Grant, I'd love for you to zoom out on this and go back further.
Yeah.
I'd like you to maybe make the legend larger and easier to read. There's a few things we could do to improve on this. No, this is a great chart. This came out of nowhere. It was fantastic. I think we could make this even better. But what I really want to focus on here is the environment that we've been in since last year is not like any of the ones on the left. You notice that?
And for the time that it has, like
That's right.
There's spots of grey, but this time it's a big chunk of grey, which is interesting because it's the type of environment that we're in. It's different. We haven't seen this sort of length of stocks going higher and commodities and bonds going lower
Together.
Yeah, together. Yeah.
So what stands out the most to me, and something that we've been pounding the table on for quite some time, is that investors are just not used to this. And there's a good reason why investors aren't used to this, because they haven't seen it.
Yep.
Like, that's the best part about this chart, I feel like. Like, it's this is not like the others, you know, like when you're like a kid. I don't know how they do it in Australia or in Moscow, but here in America, at least back in the day anyway, they used to make us take these stupid standardized tests to figure out how dumb or smart we are. And they would be like, oh, you know, look at this picture. Pick the one that does not belong. You know, remember that, Strazza?
I do. Yes.
This is like that, right?
We got something similar down under.
Is it just as dumb as the American version?
Yeah. It's but they don't give you your results. It's sort of like a school-wide thing because they don't want to annoy any parents by saying your kid's dumb, essentially.
I think they blame the teachers more than the kid, but yeah. And a lot.
I've zoomed out on this chart before, and as you said, there isn't that much grey when you zoom out. I mean, obviously, I'll send it to you in the Slack channel, and we'll pop it up on Twitter as well. But yeah, when you zoom out, there isn't big chunks of grey like we are seeing at the moment.
One of the things, Peter makes a great point to go back to the 50s and stuff like that. My concern is that when we go back so far, like, you're not going to be able to even see the damn colors.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's another thing. So maybe if we can increase the time horizon, if we increase the time horizon to 200 week or something like that, now we're getting more smooth data. So is that even what we're looking for? So play around with it. And if you have to do decade by decade.
I've already done longer time frames. I can get you that.
Grant's like, I got it, JC. Thanks,
I got you.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, way ahead of you. No, but what I'm thinking is maybe instead of zooming out all the way, like zoom out all the way and maybe smooth it out even longer so that there's less change in color. But then also maybe do like a decade by decade snapshot.
Yeah, because you can then see all the color changes.
Exactly.
Clearer. Yeah,
exactly. Why don't you
have
do that?
multiple charts. Yeah,
that's good. That's good. Also, we're getting in the chat. People want us to stick to stocks and not politics. For those of you who are too slow to hear what we said, I will say it again.
We're not
dummies. I will say it again. The only reason that we're talking about it is because of the stock market, and more specifically, how it affects the stock market. So if you're too slow to understand that, because every time you hear politics, you can't think straight, listen to me. We don't care about who wins the fucking election. We only care how it affects the stock market. So get your head out of your asses and understand that this is a selfish endeavor. We only care how it impacts the market. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, but like, we don't want to talk about this any more than you don't want us to talk about it.
And I'm Australian, so I don't really care at all either.
I care about as much as Grant.
Why are people so sensitive? Get your head out of your asses. We only care about the market. And I wish that these stupid elections didn't impact the markets, but they do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bummer.
Christ.
Real bummer, American politics, you know. But
good.
Hey.
I wish it didn't. It does.
Like a TV. For me, it's like a TV show. I love it.
It is. It's a reality TV.
And they get some good memes. They get some good memes out of it.
I was in Mumbai a few years ago, and we go to a friend of a friend's house, and we're just having some cocktails. And this guy's watching CNN. And he's like, "Yep, my kid loves CNN." I'm like, "Oh yeah, your 3-year-old loves CNN in Mumbai." It was bad, dude. It was bad. It was bad.
Anyway, moving on from the politics. Yeah. Great.
I mean, that's
We don't
I mean,
have-
that's,
so we don't
that's
have an
all, that's
answer.
all I've got. Oh, that's all I've got is I'm watching things. Things are on the borderline, and I'll obviously update everyone if things change dramatically. But right now, it's sort of you got to weigh the evidence, and the evidence still says the Bulls are winning at the moment.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Grant. Play around with some of the stuff we talked about on that. Drop it in the Slack. That's great. Great chart. Well done, by the way. You're killing it out
Thank
there,
you.
man. Killing it, dude.
Coming in hot with the charts.
Dude, you are, man. You really are. Good for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Grant Hawkridge, who I met for the first time 2 weeks ago.
And we had midnight tacos, so there's nothing better.
What is better than a midnight taco or 10?
JC had a lot of midnight tacos.
Oh my God. Quick lesson. So the best, my favorite taco stand doesn't exist anymore, I guess. And I always liked it because it was a little spicier because they catered to the Mexican workers. It was fantastic. No menu, no English. You just got to go in there and know what you're ordering, right? Loved it. Then the second best taco stand across the street from the hotel that we were staying at, I tried to like replicate the ones from up the valley. So I told the Mexican lady to make them extra spicy. And then I got back to the hotel and I forgot that I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I take one bite. I said, "Holy shit."
I mean, you got to be careful asking.
Lesson learned.
At a taco.
Don't tell the Mexican lady to make it extra spicy.
No, because it's probably offensive to them. So she probably wanted to burn you.
They're like, "This guy. Oh, I'm going to get this guy." That's what she was thinking. She's like, "This idiot. Look at this gringo over here."
All right. Very good.
All right, Grant. Love you, man.
Chief Aussie Operator, Grant Hawkridge.
Thanks, Grant.
Thanks a lot, man.
Love it.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Adios.
Also, thanks to Grant, I know that the best way to eat Vegemite is with butter on toast. Don't just put the Vegemite on the toast. You
Can
put the
someone
butter
explain
first.
to me what this is? You guys have been talking about this for a month. I still don't know what it is.
Oh, dude, it's stinky. I didn't try any. I wish I did. It was too early in the morning.
What is it for?
My stomach was,
It's a condiment. It's a spread.
Like you
It's
put it
like
on a
spread.
burger?
It's like Nutella.
No,
but
I wouldn't. No, you put it on
Really?
toast.
what is it? Like, what is the base? Why
It's
is Grant
yeast.
not-
It's literally just yeast.
It's just stinky, dude. It stinks.
But it's like good for you? It's like healthy?
I don't think so. It's yeast.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I would say that. I guess I don't know.
It's a spread. It's a spread. It's like jam. It's like Nutella. It looks like Nutella.
How come
It's like
we don't eat that in
Nutella
America?
without the chocolate and the hazelnut, right?
we don't eat a lot of things in America. I don't
Is
know.
it illegal?
No, it's not.
No.
Why would it be illegal?
You
No.
guys remember the Lucy, the I Love Lucy episode where she's like Vita Vita Benjamin and she's getting all drunk? Remember
Vita
that?
Vita Vegemin. Yeah,
Such a
Is
good
it
episode.
illegal?
classic.
That's great.
All right, you guys want to talk about the hot corner? I do.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have
Big,
no
big
guests.
move.
We have no guest today. That was Grant. Grant was the guest slot, right?
That was Grant. Yep,
Got it.
Grant was the guest.
Awesome.
right, let's see it.
I will talk about Hot Corner. In fact,
Can
I
you?
would love to talk about Hot Corner. Run the bumper.
And then we're going to talk about politics. Now,
So hot right now.
All right, a little Hot Corner, then we'll get to the Politico piece and everything else, right?
something like that.
Okay. Occidental Petroleum. Everybody knows what's up. Uncle Warren has been building a position since the early second quarter of 2022. Now, we'll get to the chart in a minute. I have a new idea of how we play this setup, which we've done in the past. We haven't made any money. No profit targets have been hit. Mr. Warren has been supporting the stock. What does he do? He comes in every time we break 60, and he's there buying. Literally. Every time he's buying, the average cost is about 60, usually a couple bucks less. So we've marked up this chart to show, and this wasn't a huge purchase. I think it was like 150 million. Fine. It's got a huge stake, a couple billion at this point. Look at where he's buying. We've circled it in yellow here, right? We know he is support in this stock. I'm very confident this will not be a top. if he's out here buying at $60. This is the neckline, right? The breakdown level of a multi-year top now.
This isn't a swing trade for Uncle Warren.
No,
He's the only 90-year-old I know who's investing for the long term.
it's not a swing trade at all. The bulk of his purchases were made early on. If you look at that first yellow circle, right on the ramp up when he was first, establishing and announcing the position, we got a monster move out of Aussie, but then we've been in the same range ever since. So they're in the money on their investment because of the size that was purchased early on in the 40s and 50s. But outside of that, they're just accumulating at the same level here, hoping that this is a consolidation within the context of an underlying uptrend, and that the underlying uptrend eventually reasserts itself and they make some good coin on this one. I think that's the bet Berkshire's making right now. They are in this for the long run, right? They're not reducing. They're continuing to build that stake. I think you can sell puts here against 60, 56, right? You could sell more if we get back down towards the range lows.
Here he goes again. Here he goes again, Sean. Selling puts, not getting paid to sell them, but selling them nevertheless.
Selling puts would have worked every time Warren came out and bought shares. Selling puts would have worked, right? Because we never broke. Now, what wouldn't have worked? Going long calls or just buying the common. We've not had a price target hit on this chart for 2 years now. It's driving me crazy, right? But selling puts would have worked every time at these lows. I don't think this time will be any different.
Yeah, but you're not making any money.
I don't understand why, if implied vol is low, you guys use the phrase not making any money. It's still money.
You're resulting, bro.
You're still collecting money.
Have you not read Thinking in Bets? Have you read Thinking in Bets?
I have read Thinking in Bets.
Okay, why don't you read it again? And I will personally call Annie Duke and tell her to yell at you, smack you over the head, hit you with a 9-iron.
No.
You're resulting. Just because it worked doesn't mean it was a good trade.
Bro, this would have worked 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back to the purchase chart.
That doesn't mean it's a good trade.
This would have been 10 good trades. What are you talking about?
I'm paying for sins here, Lord.
Would it happen?
Let me get Annie Duke on the show.
Yeah. Well, I want her to yell at me live on YouTube.
I want her to yell at you live on YouTube.
Me too.
I will yell at her live on YouTube if she doesn't yell at you.
Deal. I think you could sell puts in the Oxy 56.
All right, you sell your puts. We will not.
Fine.
I will do things that I get paid to do.
Bill, that's great, and you could do that, right? You could trade this range, but I don't know. The lower bounds are pretty clean here. The upper bounds seem to be getting lower and lower. Don't love that. I think the verdict is out on this one. I think.
You think Uncle Warren is looking at the positioning by those hedge funds or no?
I don't know.
I don't think so, right?
Probably not. Probably
not.
I think Uncle Warren's looking to hold this for another 5-10 years.
I love how he's such a long-term investor. He's got all the time in the world.
At 93 or whatever, 92.
93.
It's a lesson for all of us, really.
God bless him.
Great.
Seriously, he's the man.
Yep.
He really is the man.
So that's it. Look, this one stood out. It always stands out when Berkshire makes an appearance on our list, but we've seen this one so many times before.
You want to throw the whole list up?
Yeah, throw it up.
Throw up slide 27. This is the all the purchases that they've been making, so you can see that
the purchase. Yeah.
Stable. Look at that. These are all the purchases, which as you can see zoomed in here. This started in March of 22 and has now gone on for 27 months.
Yeah.
Pretty consistent purchases, right? So March, April, June, July, August, September. Then he skipped 6 months and then started buying again in March of last year.
Yep.
May, June. Then he skipped a few months. Then October, December, a little bit in February.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally see it on the chart and more or less know when he's going to be buying because he's been so predictable with it. So their holdings are now worth about 16 billion, right? They have about 250 million shares. And you can see on that table on the way bottom, total adjusted, they're in for about 13 and a half. So, made about 3 billion on this so far. Not bad, right? 3 billion ain't bad. 3 billion ain't bad.
That is quite the
Not bad.
accumulation. 2 years of accumulation.
Yeah.
That's A lot.
Average cost about $54 a share. So it doesn't take much.
Uncle Warren, legend, absolute legend.
What do the warrants cost? They're not for you. Private.
Uncle Warren's warrants?
Yeah, he's in different warrants than we were in.
He's in different warrants, but there are warrants that are liquid.
Yeah, but they're so far in the money, dude. Just buy the stock. They don't make sense anymore.
What is it? Oxy.w? I guess it depends, right?
So like a 50 or 60 strike on them. I think they're more or less in the money now. That's why I got out of them. I'm in the Valaris warrants still. Well,
yeah,
more-
but aren't the Oxy warrants? You can tell I don't own any. Are the Oxy warrants? These are 2027. And these are at $37 or so. So they cost you half. They cost you half of what the common costs you. But are you getting the same appreciate? You know, right? So if you want to spend half, what's wrong with that?
They're just too far in the money. So they're not giving me the juice that I want. Like I'll trade leaps before I trade those warrants, right?
I guess that's a good point. And for those of you who are wondering, if people are, what are warrants? Warrants are essentially options.
They're leaps.
For all intents and purposes, but they're issued by the company.
That's right.
Those are warrants versus the exchanges issue the options contracts.
Yeah, your counterparty is the company, not another broker dealer.
Right. So they're like options, but they're issued by the company instead of the exchange. So that's and they're very specific. Like these expire and they expire. They're like leaps.
5
specifically
6 years out. Like
yeah, they're always leaps.
Further than leaps with the warrants.
So these are March 2008. Like a lot of times, like, in my investment banking days, like what they would do is they would issue a secondary or some kind of new issue, and it would be like a unit, and each unit would represent one stock and 2 warrants, or one stock and 1 warrant. Like those are units. So it's just a creative a way to finance and get new, because you get an additional kicker for buying those units.
If a stock and an option got together and had a kid, it would be a warrant.
That's not your best work.
Yeah, better than that.
Are you
Spencer.
required to hold them for a period of time? I don't think so. That would be news to me.
No, you're not.
I don't think so.
You're not. You can trade them however you want.
And yes, Warren does have Oxy preferred as well.
Yeah.
Which
you also can't get.
Yes, you can't have that either.
But Uncle Warren gets special treatment. Well deserved, I might add. I'm not hating. Well deserved.
If somebody's looking for some juicy oil and gas warrants, I would tell you to go look at Valaris. They're still deep out of the money. Should give you lots of juice. I think they don't expire until 26 or 28. And you can go way out. I'm in those.
Yeah, by the way, these are 23 strikes, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can double check my Google search here, but I'm seeing 22 strikes.
Yeah, the Oxy warrant strike is around 59. That's right, Josh. It's right around the Buffett zone. I know that. Yep. And remember last year, JC, we kept going back and forth with the diluted share count, whether or not his warrants were in the money or not. And then I said, forget it. We're just going to treat him as in the money because that's the Buffett zone. So
that's the Buffett zone.
That's how we're calculating. We're calculating as if the warrants are in the money, and we're calculating that as part of his total ownership position, which is really ballooned to like north of 30% now.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can get the Hot Corner and where they can join me and Strazza for a little Hot Corner powwow that we're having later on this week, huh?
Yeah. So first off, the Hot Corner goes out every single day. The link to get it is in the description. It's totally free. But more importantly than that, this Thursday, Strazza and JC are going to be talking a lot more at length about these filings and how we think about them and how we trade them. Oh, I want to edit that QR code real fast. Let me just put it up on the screen.
We did a little bit on it last week, right? But we come on here every day and we talk about the purchases, but we don't really go into detail as to how we're making money using that information, right? So we're going to
really like how the QR code covers Spencer's face.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm going to fix that.
We should leave that like that more often.
Whatever. Regardless.
No, but that's exactly right. So what Strazza was just saying, we talk about the Hot Corner here every day. We look at the Hot Corner every day. these filings are great information, but then how do we make money from it? Like, okay, great, JC. Uncle Warren's YOLOing Oxy. Now what? So Breaker Bros are buying his biotech. So what? Nancy Pelosi's got some more Tesla. So what? What are we doing about it? So that's what we're gonna talk about.
And get on the Daily Note too, because at the Daily Note, you're going to get all of these cool images, like all of the Buffett table, the Buffett chart, everything that we just went through. You can get that. It's free every morning. So it's crazy not to get it. I think it's one of the best things we do.
Yeah.
So the link is also pinned in the chat. I'm taking the QR code off. It's pinned to the top of our chat. All right. It's also at the very top of the description. We'll talk more about it again tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. But Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. The guys are going to really go in depth about this stuff, and because we talk about everybody talk about the trades, but we don't talk about what they mean to us and how we'll use the information. So that's what we're going to do on Thursday. So it's going to be fun.
Yes, don't YOLO Oxy, Brian.
All right. Speaking of Hot Corner, actually, we did have another related headline. It's not in the Hot Corner today because it's not from a filing, but it is related to insiders buying stock. This is from talkative hedge fund managers talking to the Wall Street Journal. They reported that Elliott, favorite activist investors, have built a large $2 billion stake in Southwest Airlines.
These guys have been so active. So this is Paul Singer's fund.
Yes, it is.
They've had some really good ones just these past few years. They're driving changes over at Pinterest too, and I think they have a lot to do why that chart's been moving higher. I don't know. I hate airlines, man. I think these are tough ones always. I want to look at this chart and say the same thing we said about Pfizer and Disney and all these other non-tops, but this is an airline, so it's probably a top.
I don't know. They tend to get what they want, Steve. Like they tend to. I feel like they always win.
Who? Southwest? I guess them and Delta.
No. Elliott.
Oh, Elliott. Yeah. They're really good. They get board seats. They're really good at impacting change at these companies. Yeah. They get what they want. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Sure. Yeah. So if you're looking for an excuse, to buy Southwest Airlines, here's your excuse. I don't know if you want one, but there it is.
Yeah. Well, why are people so obsessed with the Pelosi's? You think? People in the chat, let us know. I don't understand it. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that good. They don't.
She's a polarizing character for those who follow the politics, and people don't like how much money she makes trading, and her husband makes trading. People are very sensitive. Like they're very fragile. Like little things that don't actually matter, like bother people.
And you know what's funny? People, they're traders, but they're making these trades, dude. They're buying deep in the money calls and holding them for several years at a time. They're not traders. They're investors. They're smart about it. They're using the right vehicles, right? They're using leverage. They're buying quality stocks. We're out here talking. We're not talking about the Pelosi's like YOLOing GameStop. They're buying Nvidia, Apple, the best stocks.
Not yet.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, oh yeah, they're so bad. They're such traders. They're just buying really good stocks with long time frames. It's really what they're doing. And they have.
And by the way, you might not like to hear this, but they are following the rules.
Yeah, very much within the rules. I think it's great what they're doing.
You might not like the rules, but they are following the rules.
I think more people.
There are rules.
More people should invest like the Pelosi's. Get that money, baby.
I hate to say it. Strazza is right. Now, if they change the rules and now they're breaking laws, that's another story. But they are not. They're following the rules.
As the editor of the Hot Corner, this is not a hot take for most people. But here's the deal with that. I think it would be a tragedy to tell these people that they can't participate in capital markets. It's the most American thing. These are our Congress people. They're barely paid. A senator makes like $125,000 a year. And then you're going to tell them they can't invest?
And they have to have two houses, Steve. They have to have two houses.
Dude, we sit back and we say, the politicians are so bad. Of course they're bad. Pay these people. Let them invest. Leave them alone. It's crazy.
Well, that's part of the problem, is that because they don't get paid any money, that anybody who wants to make money is not going to do the job. And that's why you get the smartest people doing other things that pay them a lot more.
It's a problem. Double these people's salaries. We're already in debt. It won't affect it.
Yeah.
All right.
You don't
All right,
like the
I'm-
education system? Have you seen how much these teachers are getting paid? Who the hell wants to be a teacher?
How's that for
I'm bringing this back here. Steve, we got some M&A this morning. More energy M&A.
dude? It's gonna keep happening.
You saw that?
Love it.
Noble.
It's gonna keep happening.
Noble's buying Diamond Offshore. 15.52 per share.
Wow.
I think it's a cash, and yeah, it's a cash and stock deal. So,
Dude.
kinda
And by the
confused.
way, I don't know anything, but I have a funny feeling that these cheap purchases that are being made in this M&A stuff and energy are going to be paying off very handsomely in the coming years. I don't know. I have a funny feeling these are going to turn out to be some pretty good deals. No, Strazza, you know more about this stuff than me. You agree with that?
And we've been seeing it right for like 12 months now. It's been
pretty
happening.
much every couple months.
Yes,
Every
big months.
2 months, 1
This is-
month even.
So Noble Energy is a $6 billion cap. Diamond Offshore is an offshore driller. $1.5 billion. It's not the biggest, but I mean, dude, you know, we're talking about a couple billion for each of these purchases. We had some really big ones last year, right? Wasn't Hess big?
Mhm.
Did that ever go through? What's the story there, Spencer?
I don't think it went through yet.
Didn't the
but it's-
other Diamondback buy somebody? Fang bought somebody pretty big.
Yep.
In February of this year, I think. We saw Pioneer get picked off, right? Last year. Who did Conoco just buy? Conoco just announced a deal, what, 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Keeps
I
happening.
figure that one. Looking
Keeps
up real fast.
happening.
But yeah, it like you said, about the last 12 months or so. Been a lot,
ConocoPhillips
so
Marathon, 22
another one
billion.
today.
22 billion marathon, late May.
Yeah, right,
So
marathon.
yeah, you're absolutely. I think they're going to keep coming. I think this is going to keep coming. This is also just great. This is the kind of thing that you want to see in a sector that's consolidating like this after a huge run off of the pandemic lows a few years back. Encouraging. I think all of this M&A activity suggests that we should continue to err in the direction of the underlying trend and more or less presume that these ranges will eventually resolve higher, not lower. No, I don't know.
Cool.
I really like Mr. Macro charts. Throw that one more time since we're on the on this energy train. For those of you maybe who missed it, so this one comes from our friend at Macro Charts. Great follow on Twitter. Make sure to give him a follow. Wish he tweeted more, but you know he's busy, to say the least. And this is interesting, you know, from a positioning standpoint. We like to really pay attention at extremes, and this is pretty extreme from big participants, guys. So an unwind here, you know, when we came into 2023, this is like what technology looked like coming into last year. Like just the positioning of people just so short, so bearish, and they got squeezed out in the first half of last year like you wouldn't believe. And it was beautiful. It was some of the best trades I've ever put on in my life. Several that were unbelievable. Tesla and Meta, to name a few, but there were a bunch of them in the first half of last year. This is like that, Strazza. No.
Yep.
I guess we'll see what happens in energy stocks moving forward. But if this unwinds, bonds are falling.
Yep.
Bonds are falling. Rates are going up.
Yep.
Energy is going up. Precious metals are probably doing well. Base metals are doing well. You know, inflation metrics are probably heading higher.
And that's something I keep asking myself. I know that's been the relationship, JC, but over the long run, do we need higher interest rates for oil and gas and energy to keep working? I feel like it could be sideways interest rates could work for this trade. I think sideways interest rates could work for a lot of trades, but lower, I don't see it. And it's hard for me to make the case that we're going to see higher rates right now as we're getting ready for the Fed to start cutting.
And I would encourage anybody who's interested in oil and gas stocks to look at stocks that are outside of the United States of America.
Yeah. And
there are plenty of opportunities in energy stocks that are not Chevron and Exxon.
And you just said it. There's plenty of opportunities in energy outside of oil and gas also. I actually got stopped out of a uranium stock on Friday, which I'm a little bit pissed off about. But uranium, coal, I mean, don't make me say it, but alternative energy might be waking up here.
What, like some
Solar
wind or some
stock,
shit?
solar
Like, what do you
stock.
mean?
Dude, some of these solar stocks have just gross short
Solar.
interest.
No, solar. Yeah.
SunPower's got like 9 out of every 10 shares sold short. It's just incredible. So I think there's big unwind coming from solar right now.
Good looks.
Good
looks. Little recess.
Yeah. Well, no. Before we do that, one more news item, which is S&P 500 rebalance, or I guess reconstitution technically. Friday after the close, S&P Global announces CrowdStrike, KKR, and GoDaddy. You're in the club. Congratulations. Woo woo. Who's out?
CrowdStrike has really become one of the top echelon tech stocks in the U.S. market. I mean, CrowdStrike is really separating themselves from the cyber pack. This is the one. This is the industry leader. Sorry, Palo Alto, but I think it's CrowdStrike. It's CrowdStrike and everybody else for cyber right now. And I would put cyber in the leadership category with the NVIDIAs and the Avagos and all the best tech stocks right now. I mean, this thing is just on a tear. The way this thing reversed on earnings last week, everything you needed to know. They shot this thing right as the report hit the wire, and we had like a 50-point reversal. It's incredible, and it's still going. New all-time highs. Go CrowdStrike. Love it. Love the fundamentals here too.
All right, so those three are in. Robert Half, RHI, you're out. Comerica, you're out. Illumina, you're out.
Guys, how strange is it though that these like 2000 circa tech stocks are back? Like GoDaddy?
I know.
And the S&P 500? It's interesting. These are like legacy internet stocks. These are like legacy.coms.
Have you seen the stock of GoDaddy?
It looks great. It's incredible. Did you see that range before the breakout? I mean, wild. But hey, some of these .coms that never died are back in a big.
We're going back to the OG, sort of, those web domains. They were decentralized. There were no gatekeepers. And then all the gatekeepers came in. Now we're going back, right? Bell bottoms are back. Cargo shorts are back. Right, Spencer? Tell them.
They're not.
I don't know. Is that true? I know we talked about that on Friday. I don't know.
Spencer's like, wait a minute. They never left, did they?
Oh, all right. So we should make a list of our fashion calls. Like Nikes are out, bell bottoms and cargos are in, right? Like what else?
We should just bring in my wife. She knows way more about this than us three knuckleheads.
She would be a great guest. I'm all for Morgan as a guest.
Maybe we'll bring her on.
She wants nothing to do with this.
Nothing.
Yeah, GoDaddy.
You know how many kids I have to take care of?
You
want me to be on your show? Really? Who's going to take care of the kids?
She might be one of the toughest guests we would have to pull. It would be tough.
I'll see what I can do. I have an inside connection, so we'll see.
Well, before you reach out to your wife, you should reach out to Annie Duke and get her on the show.
I will.
Yeah.
We have the fact that we have a much higher likelihood to get Annie Duke, a World Series of Poker champion, to come on our show over my wife is hilarious.
You guys play poker? I really don't play the poker. I'm not interested. I don't really want anything to do with it. I got buddies who they do like poker night. They seem to have a lot of fun. I don't want to go.
Yeah, it's a time suck. But like, getting together with like some local friends, playing some cards, just like something to do while you're drinking beers. It's like darts.
We could golf while we drink beers.
What?
We could golf while we drink beers though. Do we really
I know. I don't particularly love golf either. It's just something to do while you're drinking beers, you know? Poker's like that. Like for me anyway. Some people take it very seriously and like they grind it out,
Yeah, I'm not staying up all night.
I don't have time for that shit. Are you kidding me, man?
Steve, my new thing is spades. I'm like addicted to spades. I get one of my friends sent me one, like, you get points for like inviting your friends to the app or whatever. Yeah. So my friend sent me this app and I freaking downloaded it. Now I'm like addicted to spades. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I'm not poker though.
I really stay away from the games. I'm not.
It's a slippery slope. It is a slippery slope.
Myself, if I got like a PlayStation right now, you guys wouldn't hear from me. I would just dive in. I'd be playing like Grand Theft Auto all night. I'd be staying up. Like I can't do it. I can't go there.
All right, let's do recess and hop.
I would.
I want to give a big shout out to the homie Antonio Benassar. He came on the chat. He realized that we had a 20-year college reunion coming up, and he actually booked a flight and showed up with one bag. Right there he is. There he is in the chat. Shout out Antonio. Throw up me and Antonio at the Seagrave. This was great. Great to see him.
Awesome.
There he is. Look at that, my man making the show. And then he came along with some goodies that I was a little bit afraid to see. Some pictures from way back in the day. You keep going to the next two, just to give you guys a little idea.
Oh
my God.
So good.
I know. For the record, can we talk about how my t-shirt says "Just Bring It"? That's how much wrestling I used to watch.
Wow. He was a little Rocky Maivia. Look at him. You looked like him too. Jeez.
Look at that. How about that?
That's so good.
Man. And then throw the other one. This is me getting a haircut.
Wow.
Come on.
The beach houses at Fairfield are for the boys. I mean, the stuff that goes on there.
Antonio flies up with these pics in his phone, out of control. Thank you for coming, Antonio. Love you, my man.
I'm so jealous that you guys were hanging at the Grape. I'll have to get out there in July.
Dude, the Grape was slammed, dude. Slammed. I was like,
believe it.
I was like, I gotta get out of here, man. I'm like the old married man. I gotta go.
Yeah, you're getting stares at your age at the Grape.
And let me tell you something. For you young kids out there, if you're young and single and in your early 20s, you should really go to the Sea Grape.
Oh yeah.
It is something.
I second that. Listen, some sad news last week. Shout out Greg Schnell. Really, we lost just an all-time member in the TA community this week. I just want to say Greg Schnell is one of my favorite Canadians. He is one of the earliest technicians that I read and learned from. His stock charts blog, I would read it. I think he was putting out twice a week back then. Him, Art Hill, Julius, I was reading all those guys. Greg is also one of the just nicest guys you'll meet. We have a ton of nice guys in the TA community, but I remember my first CMT symposium, I knew pretty much nobody. And Greg was like, come sit with me, have lunch with us. And it was just the coolest thing. I think he's just one of the best guys. So that's a bummer.
Yeah, it caught me off guard. It, hit me pretty hard. He was a super, super sweetheart of a guy. And what you just said, Strazza, about, you didn't know anybody and he told you to come on. I, at one point, didn't know anybody either. Yeah. And he didn't know anybody. So that's why we became friends, because neither one of us knew anybody. So we would hang out at the events. We would hang out after the events.
Yeah.
Just absolute sweetheart of a guy. Now the two of us know so many people. But yeah, man, Greg Schnell, big loss. Condolences to the family, and great guy. Seriously.
All right. Well, I don't know how to segue off of that. I'll just go into my recess. I went to the Jersey Diners game. This is New Jersey's team, the Jersey Diners, and as if I needed another incentive to go to a diner for breakfast, they were giving these out. These diner passports, okay?
Good.
So I've got a diner passport, and if I can fill this, there's a bunch of diners in here. If I can fill this passport out by the end of the year and get stamps at every place, I get a free hat and a free mug. So now I got to go all around New Jersey hitting these diners. I got one down yesterday. So
you're going to do that?
I'm going to try. There's a couple that are like an hour away. It's kind of far, but I'm going to try. My diner passport right there.
I mean, what do you think? Like how New Jersey is to New Jersey? Because you got to be on the line,
dude.
You're a lot of Jersey going on.
Great,
heavy Jersey.
Yeah, you ooze out New Jersey. Yeah. You're so New Jersey that we went to Connecticut and together, and Spencer's like, I've never been here. It's like right there, right?
You're like so.
That's true. I had never been to that side of New York.
That's how New Jersey.
I stay on this side of the bridge.
That's right.
All right. Good stuff.
It's Monday. We got the Flow Show. Strazza and Sean, 11:30, right here on the channel. Come back for that. Thanks to everyone for hanging out. Thanks to our chat. Smash the like as always. Go make some money. We'll see you later.
Adios. Just bring it.
Happy Monday.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it